The Job Insanity Podcast with Erik ten Haven. Episode number 2. Let the show begin.
Today I'm talking to Eamonn Sadler. Eamonn and myself are both long-term entrepreneurs in Jakarta, Indonesia, and we regularly catch up on how to do business here. Eamonn is a firefighter turned entrepreneur. He used to be the franchise holder of Superbrands. He's a stand-up comedy promoter and aficionado. The owner of Bravo One Safety and Security Training and Consulting, and also currently the CEO of Most Valued Business, a company that is researching and reporting the achievements of the world's most responsible and ethical businesses and leading the way in effective and beneficial corporate social responsibility strategies. Besides all of that, Eamonn loves playing music, which I can't and he can, so that's fantastic. Trying to learn the drums. Welcome, Eamonn, to the show.
Thank you. That's quite a comprehensive introduction.
Yeah, it is, but you deserve it. So,
well, thanks. I mean, if you did that in a CV, it wouldn't look good, but as an entrepreneur, it sounds okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I enjoy having you here. Both of us have had some discussions about how to run life and how to run businesses, and
many times over the years. Yeah.
Many times. And I think today I'd just like to hear a bit about your story. What brought you to Asia, or brought you to Indonesia, and especially at what point in your life did you decide, look, I want to build some companies and some businesses to live my life.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, as it said there, I mean, the first real job I had was as a firefighter in the UK.
Right.
But I got injured, unfortunately, so in 1989 I had to get out of that. I was pensioned out. And then I got a bit of wanderlust from my grandfather. My grandfather was a world traveller. He worked for the British Motor Corporation. He used to bring the kids back boomerangs from Australia and trinkets from India and all sorts of things. So I got a kind of feel for travel from him. I always envied him a little bit, the amount he travelled. So, after I retired from the fire brigade, which was to be a career for life, I was supposed to be chief fire officer, but in a way I'm glad it didn't work out that way because I've had a lot more fun doing this. So a friend of mine was a DJ in a nightclub here. It was the Oriental Discotheque, the Oriental in the Hilton Hotel. And he said, come out here, it's a lot of fun, So I sort of thought about it for a while, but then a couple of years later I actually got on a plane and I bought a round the world ticket. Actually, I went through Thailand and Singapore and then Indonesia, and the plan was to go on through Hong Kong and Manila and out to the States, but yeah, I got as far as Indonesia, and back in those days it was a very different place.
Right. When was that?
Here in Jakarta.
Yeah. What year was that?
1991.
Okay.
Yeah. So so I kind of got waylaid by Indonesia and all it had to offer in those days. It was a very different place back then. If you turn this way, you made some money. You turn that way, you made some money. You were sort of somebody's pet white man. They used to pay you just for being white and speaking English in those days.
Yeah.
But those days are over now. So I kind of stuck here, and then you kind of get in too far to get out. So I was working for the hotel business. I was working the shipping business. I got married, went to Manila for a while. It didn't work out, so I came back here. Got married again and got divorced again after that, which is always fun. But yeah, I started, instead of going straight to entrepreneurial, I went from working for someone to a sort of franchise situation, which was the Superbrands thing, which is kind of a halfway house for someone who wants to be an entrepreneur. It's not quite self-employed, but it's not quite completely independent either. Yeah,
and you fall into their system of running the business, right?
Yeah, so you're told how to do it, rather than when to do it. But there's expectations and reporting, and it's it's not really that far removed from a day job, really.
Yes,
because people expect you to do things in certain times and so on. So I did that for a lot of years, and the trouble, I just had this discussion this morning with someone. The trouble is, people tend to pay you just enough money to make you stop doing what you want to do. So as CEO of Superbrands, for example, I was making good money, and to give that up, the more they pay you, the harder it is to give up.
Right.
Of course. So I did that for like 6 years. I was the global CEO for 6 years, franchisee for a long time after that. But they were paying too much. If they'd been paying me less, I'd have got out a lot earlier and become an entrepreneur a lot earlier. But they were paying me more than I needed, really. So I was comfortable.
Yeah.
So I wasn't driven to do anything else. But then it came to a point where I realised that as a franchisee, I don't own anything. It's not something you can leave to your kids. It's just they could take it away. The way the Superbrands business works is they can give you a year's notice and you're gone, and that's it. So really, there's no long term, there's no retirement plan in that. There's nothing I leave to my kids or anything else. So a number of years ago, I started branching out into other businesses, still doing Superbrands, but now I've stopped doing Superbrands and started doing MVB, which is the sustainability and environmental business.
Yeah.
The fire safety business and security business is obviously something close to my heart from
your past, from your firefighting days, yeah. I remember you're also in that business. You're using also a lot of retired firefighters to do audits and things for you, right?
Yeah, actually, my
that's
partner.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the great thing is, I joined when I was 19 years old.
Right.
Which is still a kid, right? I mean, I don't know what you're doing as a fireman at 19 years old, but you can retire after 30 years or 55, whichever comes first. Actually, the age has gone up now, but when it was me, it was 30 years or 55. So at 49. I was due to retire anyway. I'm 54 now. So all the guys I joined with and all the guys I know all retired around the same time. So they're all highly qualified and retired and getting pensions. So actually my partner, the guy I work with, was my old station commander from when I was a new wet behind the ears recruit. You know?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it's really nice. You've met Bill, right? I mean, he's a lovely guy and we got on well back then, and it's nice 30 years later, thanks to the magic of Facebook and the internet, to sort of hook up again and do some business together. But yeah, that's the potted version of how I ended up here. And throughout all of that, there's been a thread. I've always played in bands, right from the beginning. Right at the age of 15, I've been playing in bands. And, the comedy was something I started in 2001 as a sort of hobby, part-time. Not even part-time, really, just spare time, just as fun. There was nothing else to do in Jakarta, as you know. There's very little to do here. There's the odd big band visiting like Beyonce or someone,
right?
But, in terms of something for guys like us to do in an evening, there's really not much going on.
Entertainment,
that was apart from playing pool and drinking beer and in all the wrong places. So that's why I started the comedy club, really to give me, and I often tell the ticket buyers, I'm sure you've heard me say it, you're not actually ticket buyers, you're just helping me cover the cost of bringing these guys so I can watch them.
So what does that look like? What does comedy club do in Jakarta?
Well, we do shows every month, but I've decided this year to stop doing the things I don't enjoy so much and start doing the things I enjoy more as a business. And it's always the same. The reason you start something as a hobby is because you enjoy it, right?
Right.
And the reason you start something, a job, is to earn money.
Yes.
But I've found now that I've come to a point, like I said, I'm 54, I'm coming to a point now where I have to make some decisions about what I'm going to be doing with the rest of my working life.
Right.
Which will be the rest of my life. I never retire, but you got to decide what you're going to do with your time.
Yeah.
And the things I enjoy the fire safety business because, like I say, my whole family's been in fire safety my whole life. My father's a fireman, my brother's kid is a fireman, my sister's kid is a fireman. I mean, it's a family of firefighters. So it's something that's been very close to my heart my whole life since I was very small. And the sustainability and environmental business, MVB, is also very close to my heart. It's something I feel strongly about, that companies need to be, putting something back in rather than just taking out all the time. And they should be, the ones that do it should be recognised for that.
Yep.
And that gives me it's not so much a passion like I enjoy it like the comedy or the music, but it's something I feel strongly about. So it gives me a good feeling to be involved with it and to making a small contribution to making the world a better place.
Sure, yeah.
So basically, the fire safety and the sustainability and the comedy is what makes music. What makes money. I'm far too old to make money out of music. That's always going to be a hobby. Although my daughter is singing for jingles now. I was very excited last night. Actually, I went to watch a movie last night. Yeah. And there's a Vivo ad. And it's my daughter singing the soundtrack.
Oh wow!
On the big screen. So I was very pleased with that. Cool. But she's 22, so she's
she has the career ahead of her for rock and roll.
But she's doing really well. I mean, it's
that's
a lot
nice.
Of work.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. It's an aspect of my life that I felt is underexposed, which is the artist in me.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I started doing these interviews, and that's why I'm working on my book, just to create interesting content. And whether it's music or whether it's an interview or whether it's a book, and it stimulates your creative side. And in business, you always need to use that, I think, but. It's different if you need to get creative in making money, or you need to be creative in just putting something out there, I think. And that's
people say if you just do what you enjoy, the money will come. Concentrate on doing what you do well,
right?
And concentrate on doing something you enjoy well,
Right.
and the money will come.
Yeah.
That's what they say. They say, relax. Just don't chase the money. Chase the dream. Chase being what you want to be, doing what you want to do, and the money will inevitably come. Because
Right.
if it is really something worthwhile, then there's money in it.
Yes.
Whether it be recording this, or whether it be, the comedy, which I'm completely restructuring so that it becomes a business, which I could have done years ago, frankly.
Right.
I could have done that at 10 years, but I was sidetracked with, like I said, Superbrands paying me too much money.
Yeah.
So, if you just concentrate, and I've come to a point now, I've been doing comedy for 16 years, I didn't realize that I know everybody. And everybody knows me, which is far more important. They say,
Yeah.
knowing people is the most important thing is knowing people. That's absolute nonsense. You can know all the people you want to know. If they all think you're an idiot, you're not going to get anywhere.
Right.
It's who knows you and what do they think of you. That's
Right.
the only thing that matters.
Right.
So when somebody says, what do you think of that, Erik? An idiot.
Yeah.
That's the end of the story.
That's the end of the story, yeah.
But if they say, oh, yeah, good bloke, I've done a lot of stuff with him, you can rely on him, then that's it. The door's open and you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
So I've spent 16 years really building credibility, doing my apprenticeship in the comedy industry.
Right.
I'm the oldest, no, I don't mean me personally, but I'm the longest standing comedy promoter in Asia. I didn't know that. Nobody in Asia has been promoting comedy longer than me. I had no idea.
Right.
Somebody called me the godfather of Asian comedy the other day, and I had no idea.
Right.
I had no idea that people talked about me like that, because I was just doing something I enjoyed.
Right.
And now I'm trying
And
to
consistently, and for quite a while.
and
And
through
that-
thick and thin. I mean, we've had
Right.
our fair share of challenges here, and people appreciate it when you keep doing stuff.
Yes,
even
yeah.
when the going gets tough. But I reached out with the new version of Jakarta Comedy Club, Mad About Comedy. I reached out to people in the comedy industry, and they said, "Oh yeah, sure. There's nobody else should be doing that.
Yeah.
You're the guy who should be doing that. Yeah, what do you want from me? What can I do for you? How
That's
can I help
fantastic,
you?
yeah.
I'll be there. You need this, you need that. Let me know. I'll help you.
Yeah, be good to them. They're good to you, right? Especially, I think there's another thing that you spoke to me about once about the comedians, where that's quite a tough profession, right?
Oh, God, yeah.
And you were, and these guys are not free of their time. They need to hustle to get gigs and make a buck, right? And
That's right.
You talked to me about once that their lives is pretty. It's a tough life. Yeah?
And one of the things I'm doing with Mad About Comedy is making their lives better. I know so many comedians, and I know their stories, and I know how hard it is for them to make a living.
Yes.
Because thinking you're funny and being funny is two different things, right?
Right.
There's lots of people who think they're funny, but to actually do stand-up comedy is not the same as telling jokes to your mates in the pub.
Yeah,
it's
and
an entirely different beast.
Right, and would you say that maybe they lack a bit of the business insight to grow their business to somewhere where that can sustain them? Or
They are creative people.
Right.
And generally, they're very fragile, creative people.
Right.
They're very sensitive.
Yes.
It's the sort of people, not to exclusion, there are some tough nuts, but
Right.
the majority of comedians are very fragile beings.
Right.
And they're very...
You don't see that when they're on stage.
No, you
usually.
don't. But that's
Yeah.
what they call it, an act. It's an act. They're acting.
Right.
I've seen guys come off stage to the biggest round of applause you've ever seen and stand in the corner, so I'm so sorry, I don't know what went wrong with that. I say, it's fantastic, man.
Right.
I've seen other guys come off stage to almost silence and sort of fist bump me and say that was the greatest gig they've ever done. So they're very, cerebral.
Right.
They're thinkers, and they have... The way to find the funny in something is by looking at it at a different angle to what everybody else looks at it from. And they do that with their whole life. So it's not just comedy they look at life, things from a different angle. Their whole life they do that. So when they try to be businessmen, or they try to... The majority, not all of them, but the majority of them, when they try to be businessmen, it doesn't work out so well, because they should stick to what they're good at, and that's being funny and what they enjoy. That's why they need managers and agents. But the trouble is, managers and agents have been paying them $200 and charging a lot more than that, and promoters like me, although here it's slightly different, because most months I'd lose money, one month I might get some back,
Right.
whatever. But most promoters are paying the comedian 70 quid in London, 100
Wow.
quid, 150 quid, and I won't name any names, but there are clubs in London doing 400 people a night, sold out twice at $12-15 pounds, £12-15, and paying the comedian 200 or 300, or which is a small percentage of what's coming through the door in ticket money.
Yes.
And that's the way it's been since the beginning, because the business is the promoters and the agents, and the comedians are just like a warehouse full of goods.
Right.
Just
So time for a business model disruption there, right?
disruptive technology. And that's what I'm working on. That's something you and I should talk about, because that sort of stuff. There's a lot of mismatches in the comedy industry, but I've seen several comedians try to become promoters and businessmen, and it doesn't generally work. And the other way around, I've seen a lot of promoters and businessmen try to become comedians. That doesn't work either.
Right.
In rare occasions, it does work, but
right.
not generally speaking.
So the stage of your life that you're at right now, how do you, you touched on it a little bit, but how do you now choose the things you want to spend your time on? So you're at a point where your businesses are generating some money. You could decide to do very little. How do you now decide on when you wake up in the morning to when you go to bed at night what you spend your energy on? How do you pick those things?
I don't look at any of them as work.
Really?
That's the secret. I don't think in them. Well, I've got to do some work. I've got to go to work. I don't think that. I just get up and I think, oh, these things to do today.
Right.
And it's not work.
Okay.
What else would I do in my time?
Right.
And if I didn't have those things to do, if I wasn't doing comedy, I wasn't doing MBB, I wasn't doing Bravo 1, fire safety, well, I'm going to go to the beach. I mean, I'm not a beach holiday kind of guy anyway.
Right.
I can't go and spend 2 weeks in Spain on a beach or in Bali on a beach. I can't do that. 2 days in, I'm
bored,
I'm itching to do something.
Right.
When I go on holiday, I go seeing museums and sites and go in places that I've never been before. In fact, I come back from holiday needing a holiday. Usually it's
active.
So it's active, yeah. Not extreme sports or anything like that, but I generally, I like to see stuff and go places. I don't like to sit around doing nothing.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So that's how you fill your days. But let's say in your past there must have been things that didn't work out, right?
Oh, so many.
So can you tell me a little bit about, maybe not the details, but how you look at that? How you look at things that don't work? When do you decide to stop with it? And how does that affect your energy to start a next venture?
Well, somebody told me a long time ago that the average entrepreneur will fail at 7 businesses before they find one that works.
Right.
And that's the average. So I think I'm keeping up the guy who did it first time. 'Cause I think I played more like 14, probably more than that. But somebody told me a long time ago, don't regret the things you did, regret the things you didn't do. Because the things you did, you can learn from.
Right.
But the things you don't do, you can never learn from.
Right.
So you'll never know, if you don't try, you'll never know if it would have worked or not.
Right.
I need closure, you know what I mean? If I have an idea, I can't not do it. I can't not try it because I need to know if it will work or not for my own satisfaction. So there's only 3 questions I ask myself when any new idea comes along. Do I like the idea? Sometimes it's mine, sometimes it's somebody else's. Do I like the idea? Do I think it'll work? Can I afford to lose? It's only 3 questions I ask.
Right, and then how much time would you give something like that? Because you need to, ideally, you need to find out quickly whether it works or it has some traction. How do you look at that? How do you work on that?
Well, I'm lucky in as much as I got a good network. A lot of people know me. So what I tend to do is I'm more the ideas guy.
Okay.
I will generally put together the idea. I'll do the original thoughts, the original plans, and then I'll put together the right people to make that happen.
Okay.
And then I might be going to meetings once or twice a week with those people to keep things together. And you're getting at, I think what you're getting at is at what point you pull the plug, at what point you say, right, we're going to stop doing that. To me, it's when you can't afford to lose anymore.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Because that's just stupid. I mean, then you're risking your family, you're risking things that you've worked for that you need. Once you get into that territory, the kids' school fund and the paying the mortgage, and once you get into that, start using that money, then you're in deep crap. So you've got to work with the money that is the want money, not the need money, right? Is that the desire money? So once you get close to the end of that, you have to make a decision, and don't be afraid to abandon things. Most people, they have a baby and they think it's like abandoning a baby. They think, I've got to make it work because it's my baby, it's my idea, and if I don't make it work, then it's a failure, and if I fail, that looks bad on me. Well, it doesn't. It makes you a sensible person, right? Because not every idea is going to be good, not everything's going to work.
Right.
So I generally, I'll pursue something until I can't afford to lose it anymore. But having said that, there's an evolution and an adaptation process that you've got to go through too, because not every idea starts out perfect. Like MVB now today is way different to what it was when we started.
Right.
We've evolved and listened and learned and listened to clients and listened to salespeople and listened to all the people involved and say, this is what we need to do, and just adapt it. We know it's a good idea. You got to have faith in your idea. But just because it's a good idea doesn't mean it will be a good business.
Right.
So, people get wrong often. I've seen so many people come to me say, I've got this idea for a business. I say, it's a fantastic idea, but I don't think it's a business. You're not going to get.
It's a hobby.
It'll be a hobby, or it's just a good idea, but that's as far as it'll ever go.
Right.
Like, you know, there's a few people we both know I could tell you stories about. Come to me with ideas like that. But people have made this mistake that because it's a good idea, it will be a business, and that doesn't necessarily follow. But what you've got to do is constantly adapt and evolve.
Right.
Like the MVB, like I said, is far different. The Bravo 1 business is way different to what we thought it was going to be in the first instance. We thought we were going to be helping people make sure their buildings were safe. It's not that at all. Not that at all. It's about training, and it's about awareness, and it's about making sure all the ornaments, fire extinguishers, smoke detectors, they're just ornaments if nobody knows what to do with them, if nobody knows what they mean, how they work, how to maintain them, or anything else. So you're actually teaching people to appreciate what they have and to use what they have and to sort of maximize their investment in that stuff, which they have to have by law, to maximize their investment in the people that are responsible for those things.
And you only find that out by starting the business and starting to serve clients, right?
That's right.
They will tell you if what you're offering is not exactly what they need, and then you can change.
They would if you ask them. Otherwise, they just say no.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people are afraid to do. Ask the client, what do you want?
Right.
What can we give you? If you don't want that, what can we give you?
Yeah, what is it that you need?
What do you need?
Right.
What do you need from me? Because we can do it all. What do you need? And a lot of people, they think that's a weakness as well. Asking a client, what do you need from me? And we did it a long time ago with Superbrands. We kept guessing what people want until finally we asked them what they want. And they all told us the same thing. And we went, oh, shit, why didn't we think of that? So we did that, and it changed the whole game.
Yeah. I want to switch to something else, and that is your life as an entrepreneur far away from the UK where you were born. How do you fit in with, for instance, your family and your friends? Are they all like this? Are they all entrepreneurial? Are they all adventurous and doing what they want to do and love to do?
I'm totally the black sheep.
You're the black sheep.
They don't understand what I do at all.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, I was just in the UK, and my father, one of the last things he said to me before I left, he said, if you'd stayed a fireman, you could have been chief by now.
Right.
I said, Dad, that would have been my worst dream come true.
Right. And are you at peace with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so is he, when he understands why I'm not like that. I remember writing my letter. This is how long ago it was when I first came to Indonesia. A letter. You remember those airmail letters with the red and blues, the diagonal lines on the outside? I wrote him a letter, and I said, Dad, listen, if I end up at the end of all of this adventure as the caretaker in a bloody school, mopping the floors, I'll be happy, because I tried.
Right.
I gave it a shot. I couldn't go through my whole life as a fireman wondering what else I could have done.
Right.
You might have been the best brain surgeon in the world if you'd gone to medical college.
Yes. Yeah.
You might be a great painter. Have you ever tried?
I've never tried. No.
So you don't know, right? How do you know you're not a fantastic painter? How do you know you're not a fantastic sculptor?
Right.
How do you know you're not fantastic at something else? The only way is to keep trying different stuff until you find something that you're really good at and you really like.
Right.
Because you don't know, you've got to try.
Yes.
Right. Nobody. You're not born. You don't get to 13 years old and think, "Oh, I'm a fantastic artist." Somebody puts you in front of a canvas with some
paint, try,
and they go, "Wow, you can actually do it." Oh, can I really? Yeah, you're good. Oh shit, really? I didn't know.
Yeah.
And you might be that now.
Yeah.
You could be. You might be. This podcast could be the greatest podcast that ever happened. You could be an internet star in 6 months. Who knows? But you will never find out if you don't try.
Yeah, that's right. That's interesting. And so if your family is in that sort of mindset, how do you find people? Because they always tell you, right? I mean, you're sort of the result of the 5 people you know or you deal with the most, right? You're the average of the
most, yeah.
Exactly. So how do you find people in your circles to keep you on your toes or to keep you inspired?
You have to be a bit ruthless. When I was 40, the day I turned 40, literally on my 40th birthday, I made a list of everybody I know, and I decided whether I wanted to keep knowing them or not. I did that. I went through my phone book, and it was a phone book at the time, wasn't even no mobiles around or anything.
Right.
Oh, there were mobiles, but not with any great contact list in. But I went through my diary, and I haven't seen this guy for years. I don't really like him.
Right.
Why do I keep messing around? I just didn't bother. You don't ring him up and say, piss off, I don't want to talk to you anymore. But you just scale down the interaction until it disappears, So I ended up, but of course, you pick up some. That's part of life's baggage, right? Everybody has baggage, and you end up dragging a lot of people that it's really quite pointless through your life with you, and you've got to cut them loose. Not in a nasty way, but you just got to stop spending time on them because they don't add anything to your life.
Right.
Not that everybody you're involved with should add anything, but they should be, fun to be around, pleasant to be around, add something to you, teach you something, entertain you in some way, or just be pleasant to be around. Just someone you'd call for a beer for no particular reason. I've got several friends here, you being one of them. We don't see each other for months on end, but we're quite happy to sit down and have a beer, and it's like nothing happened in the meantime.
Right.
Because we, you add something to what I am, and I hope I add something to what you are.
Yes.
And there's other people I do that with too. This guy's every 2 or 3 months. Beer. It's like usual place. And we go there and we drink far too much beer generally, but we just talk about life, the universe, and everything.
Yes, yeah.
And there's no particular reason for it. There's no expectation at the end of it. There's no minutes taken. There's no, right, you do that and I'll do this. We just go our separate ways until the next time.
Right.
But you've picked up something along the way. Like you said about your weekly hour.
Right. My mastermind call, yeah.
Yeah, you're enriching somehow each other in some way.
Yes.
Not that everybody has to have value, and that's very sort of materialistic, but it's not about that. It's about everybody should be there for a reason. If there's just a friend is a reason. Entertaining is a reason. Good business contact is a reason. But some reason you find yourself knowing a lot of people for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that's the people you got to let go.
So, Eamonn, you've spoken, a lot about your businesses and your experiences. If you would have to advise somebody that says, look, I want to be like Eamonn, or I want to be like Erik, or I want to be a businessman, I want to have the time freedom to decide what I want to do with my life, what would you tell them how they could best get to that point? What would you suggest they do?
To me, it's about, like I said, it comes back to I don't see it as work.
Right.
So I don't want freedom from it in that sense.
Right.
I don't want to do nothing. I want to work. I want to do what I enjoy. So if somebody wanted to do what I do, then all you simply have to do is make sure that what you do for a living, what you do for money, is something you enjoy.
Right.
Like a great man said, if you enjoy what you do for a living, never work a day in your life.
Right.
And I don't work. I don't do work. Because work, to me, by its very definition, is hard.
Right.
And I don't work hard. I do a lot of what I enjoy doing, and sometimes that takes me a lot of hours a day, and sometimes I don't sleep very much. But I don't regret that. I don't think, oh my God.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that are struggling with, it's very hip now to say you need to find your passion, right? You need to find what you love doing. There's a lot of people struggling with that. And you're sort of saying, find what you love doing and start doing that and money will flow, right? But people are sometimes scared to find what they think they like to do.
Well,
right?
It doesn't always work, of course. I mean, you might be a passionate painter, and there are lots of them.
Right.
Just because you're passionate about it doesn't mean you're any good at it.
Yeah.
So you've got to be honest with yourself. How good are you at what you're doing?
Right.
You see a lot of it. I always use American Idol as a very good example, because they always take the top 20% and the bottom 20% of the applicants, right? Because there's the ones at the bottom who are absolutely dreadful, and everyone knows they're dreadful, and the people around them know they're dreadful, but they don't tell them. They encourage them because it's their son. They want to support them and so on, and they think they're great. But everyone else knows they're terrible. Somebody should tell them. Ask your friends, am I any good at this, really?
Right.
I sing in a band, right? And I constantly, when I was younger, I'd ask people, is it really, and you can tell me, I'm a friend, is it something you like listening to, or am I kidding myself? They say, no, it's a rock and roll. I don't kid myself either. I'm not Frank Sinatra, I'm not a croon, I'm a rock and roll singer. Right?
Yeah.
I'm belted out. I'm not going to win any awards or anything, but I can hold a tune. So that's the level I keep it at. Like I said earlier in the interview, I said the music is not something I'm ever going to be famous at, because I know I'm not good enough at that.
Yeah.
I know I'm good enough to, as an expat band, and have a bit of fun. But, comedy, I didn't know until I decided to take it seriously, as I said to you earlier, that I'm good at it. I didn't know I was good at it. Everybody said to me, if anybody's going to do that in Asia, it's got to be you.
Right.
And I was quite astounded by and this sounds sort of immodest, but I was quite astounded by the amount of respect I had in the industry.
Right.
People, I get emails from comedians all the time, I'm told you're the guy in Asia, you can be trusted, I want to do some shows, could you consider me for your... Could I consider, this is 25-year veteran comedians, could I consider them? Would you consider coming to me?
Yeah, sure.
But I didn't realise I'd done that.
Right.
Because, as like I said to you before, if you enjoy what you're doing, you do it far more and far better, and you pay far more attention than you do if you don't enjoy it.
Yes.
So for the last 16 years, I've been doing something to the best of my ability, the very best of my ability, without realising it. because the only way I could enjoy it was if I did it properly.
Right.
If you do it half-assed, of course, you're not going to enjoy it, right?
Yes,
so you've got to
yeah.
make sure, the room. There's a science to comedy. You're setting up the room right, getting the lighting right, getting the seating right, getting the sound system set up. Getting the right guys, 2 different acts that complement each other. And it's not just you throw someone on the stage and they tell jokes.
Yeah. Plus, you have to have a good MC to bring them into the room, of course. And that's that's your role, right? So
that's all I do. Yeah, and I learned very early on in that. Don't try to be funny. That's their job. I'm paying them to be funny. I'm just a dude that holds it all together. But it's very easy. I don't think I can teach anybody how to do what I do.
Yeah.
Because I'm a unique being, and so are you.
Right.
All I can do is tell people what I've done, and they can take the bits that might apply to them.
Right.
Because I don't think you can teach people to recognise generic things. Like
right.
I said, be honest with yourself. That's a
yes.
big one.
Yeah.
Am I really that good? I'm going to write a book. You told me you're going to write. Are you a good writer? Do you know? Have you ever written anything before?
We'll find out.
You're going to find out.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't if you didn't do it, right?
That's right.
So what you're going to do is write your book, send your podcast, put it up on the air, and you've got to ask people. You send it to an editor, and if they come back and say, "Who wrote this? A monkey?" You've got to be honest with yourself and say,
"Got to drop it."
Drop it. But if they say, "Yeah, this is good. This has got potential," then you pursue it.
Yeah.
But what you'll do is adapt. Like I said before, you won't just drop it. You'll adapt. You'll get a ghostwriter, or you get someone to help you write it, or something else. So it's all about adaptability and constant evolution of what you're trying to do.
So after living for half a century, bit more, if you would go back to your 20-year-old self and you would think about where you were at that point in time, you know now what you know, and what would you tell your 20-year-old self to do differently?
First thing I'd say is you don't know anything. You think you know everything, but you don't know anything. Not yet. I mean, I remember when I was 20, I thought that 30 was one foot in the grave. I remember thinking that when I'm 30, life's over then. There's no point in living past 30. That's really old. But I realised that that's really an apprenticeship in your 20s. I just say, learn as much as you can. Talk to as many people as you can who know what they're talking about. Anything.
Right.
Don't pick your subjects. Just talk to people who know stuff. People who've been places, people who've done things. Read books, great way to find out what people have done and where they've been, and all the exciting things they've done and what they've learned from it. And
right.
you start to incorporate that into your life. Like I said, I can't teach anybody how to do what I do because I'm unique, and so are you. And they're all unique too. Everybody's unique. So what I would tell my 20-year-old self is talk to as many people as you possibly can, listen to as many people as you possibly can, read as many books as you possibly can, and pull out the bits that might work for you, and then follow that. And it turns out that's pretty much what I did.
Right.
But I did it without knowing it.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was doing that at the time.
Yeah, but you did break free from your firefighter career, and you did explore and go and do something new. You got injured.
Who knows what would have happened if that hadn't happened?
Right.
I could be chief fire officer now, like my dad wanted. Who knows?
Yep.
And maybe I'd be happy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's like in Back to the Future, the different timelines. Does one exist alongside the other, or do they rub each other out?
Yeah.
Obviously, in real life, the one I took rubbed out the other one, but you
right.
don't know. There's no way of knowing what
That's
happened
right.
if you take another fork in the road, and you can't spend time worrying about it or regretting it because it's totally unchangeable.
I have to enjoy the mystery of life, I think, in this sense.
And the biggest thing is, the one biggest thing I've learned is that Western culture has got it entirely wrong. Our Western culture, our European culture, and American culture, we're taught to succeed in a lifetime.
Right.
And that is totally wrong. Because you may not live a lifetime. I've got great friends, did very well for themselves in life, got a great career, paid for their house, got lots of property, 64, 65 years old, dropped dead. What was it all for? They worked their whole life and got nowhere. Life is not the destination, it's the journey. I know that's an old cliche. This is life here and now today.
Right.
There's nothing else to it apart from this. It's the old yesterday is history and tomorrow's a mystery. And that's my favourite expression.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. This is it right here. Everything I've worked for is this.
Right.
To sit here and talk to you.
Right.
That's everything I've worked for up until now. And from now on, it will be something else in the future. But Indonesians, for example, they succeed on a daily basis. Out in the kampungs, they ate today, they got a warm place to sleep today, their kids are in school today, they succeeded today, and they get that warm glow of success every day. And hopefully I'll succeed again tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we only get to feel it once in a lifetime.
That's right, yeah.
We get to the end of life before we feel we've succeeded. We paid for a house, put the kids through school, retired, right, life starts now. Oh, I'm a bit too tired to go on that world tour now.
That's right, yeah.
So this is it, here and now today. There's no other form of life, only this moment.
Yeah.
And that's what you've got to remember, that, because there may not be another one, and all the other ones are gone already.
Yeah.
So that's, to me, I always try to remember that. It's not easy to do, particularly when you've got kids, like I know you have, and I have. Obviously, you've got to safeguard the future to a certain extent.
Yep.
Them. And my oldest is 22 now, the youngest one's coming up for 17. Once I get them through college and standing on their own 2 feet, I've succeeded for them, as far as I'm concerned. That's my duty as a father, get them through, give them a start in life, and off they go. And now they're on their own, like I was when I was their age. And then it'll be up to me to make sure the rest of what I've got left is as much fun as the last 25 years have been.
Yeah, cool. Hey, if anybody is inspired by your story and they want to reach out to you, how can they reach you in the best way?
Just use my name, eamonnsadler@gmail.com.
Okay, I'll put that under the show notes of the episode. And then I have one last question for you, and that is, what does the word freedom mean to you?
Not having to do anything.
Okay.
Just doing stuff because I want to.
And enjoying it.
Enjoy it.
That's
if
a
you
great...
want to do it, you'll enjoy it, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's a great definition. Well, thanks a lot for your time. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Erik.
And I wish you all the best with your businesses and with your life.
Same to you, mate.
And especially your comedy. I really enjoyed that. So
come on, 25th.
Will do. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for listening to the Job Insanity Podcast. Please visit jobinsanity.com for more information and show notes.